Hello everybody, your local loser Lunar here, and today I am bringing you a theory voiceover. This is not going to happen very often, as I usually don't or not going to cover theories, or have much for that matter. But is Danny an albino ghost? And before you just debunk this, well, in albino animals, and probably would work the same with ghosts here, is, well, you see the color of their blood due to the lack of pigment in their eyes. They also would have little no indication of pigment in their hair or fur, hair in this case. White hair, this is something we see on Danny. This is also what we see on Arctic animals and the people of the far frozen frostbites people. The Yetis, they're white furred. If you don't believe me, just go check it out. Another thing, the ghosts that you normally see in the show, they have green to blue color. Vlad also has this. He's not exempt from this general rule of skin tones. Danny, however, is probably the only ghost we see with a humanish skin tone. It's a little darker than his normal skin tone. That might have been from being, charred to death with electricity. Spoiler alert, a little late there, honey. But, yeah, with all the other ghosts, they're blue, green, or gray. Danny doesn't have any of these tones. I mean, this is probably the equivalent of having more of a porcelain tone to any color that we have, except, it's blue, green, or a weird mix of the two. Be anywhere in the middle there, buddy. You're safe. You're probably a ghost. You're generally going to be nicely in with your environment, unlike Danny, who's going to stick out like a sore thumb, similar how a rabbit would do if it was completely white in the middle of summer in a very nicely lighted forest that's good for photos. That's just how bad he sticks out. But you stick this kid in New York, all you need to do is make sure he doesn't have the hazmat suit on and make sure he's not floating every which way, and people are going to be like, this kid has some nice contacts in. And that's a pretty dang good dye. I need to ask him about what the heck he's using. I'm just saying that because from personal experience, white hair is not really easy to dye or keep, no matter what hair color you have from either, but it's definitely hard with the darker tones that, Off topic here. Anyway, irrelevant. We look at Vlad. He has the normal ghost tones. He has blue skin, red eyes. Red is practically the opposite from green, so you can tell that, red is pretty common for the eye color in the Danny Phantom universe for ghosts. You see it on Fright Night's horse, you see it in Vlad, you see it in the box ghost. I'm not sure about the lunch lady, but yeah, they're generally suited to the environment they're in, unlike how albinos would be, unlike how Danny would be. Unless, of course, you count him being in the living world a lot, but then again, it's like sticking an albino animal and just tossing it in a snowy environment. I also think that half of us aren't exempt from this. The main thing I'm pulling this from is from Plasmius. That's the only thing that we can really pull from, since, Danny is a clone of Danny. Yeah. Clones! Either she's probably an imperfect clone taking DNA from Vlad or something. That would explain why she's a girl, or the fact that she was destabilized was a lack of the needed chromosomes, but that's a different thing for a different day that I am not going to cover. Yeah, so Vlad, he's blue-skinned. He has dark hair, for crying out loud. Dark hair! Hair, as far as we know, can be practically any color without it having to tie to albinism. Like, there's black, there's pink, frick, there's even blue. I think I'm supposed to switch blue and pink, but that doesn't matter! White's only seen in the Far Frozen's people and Danny. As far as I remember, at least. Everyone else is just like this rainbow of cool colors of the green and blue spectrum, and maybe sprinkle in a couple grays there. Yeah, that's right, I'm looking at you, Sydney and Youngblood. Ugh. Notice that not even once I said a warm color like red. Wait, I did say pink, but that was for hair. Not for skin. fur, too. I mean, think back to the unicorns that Boxy let loose. I mean, yeah. I mean, we can look at practically any ghost out there. Very few of them have a warm skin tone like Danny and Danny. Oh my, that's gonna get a little confusing. Let's hope they're never in the same room with each other when their friends try to acknowledge their existence and speak to them. But, aside from the Danny's, the only one with green eyes is Fright Night. Fright Night's completely covered. We can't really pull any information from him other than he's probably one of the few other ones with the green eye color. I bet if you take that suit off, he's also going to stick out like a sore thumb. You look at Pry, he has more of a white skin tone. I don't remember his eyes color though, but it is fairly light. But even if Danny is not completely a ghost albino, just simply in ghost form, this does not strongly affect his human form. This is strictly just for ghost form. I mean, can vary very differently. I mean, this is ghost we're talking about. Half of things are very confusing, and I really don't want to go into it, and I don't really have enough formed on it yet. But, Danny could be a albino just simply in his ghost form. Now, this does not mean he has to be a complete albino in itself, though that is what I'm technically theorizing on. I really don't know enough to say exactly for sure if he is or not. But if he is not completely an albino ghost, he should be at least partial. I mean, look at the eyes of this dude. There's probably no pigment in his eyes. They were probably destroyed when they were electrocuted. Or at least the capacity to build more, as certain stuff can. I forgot everything that can, but can in fact destroy certain DNA or the in this case, it's probably the ectoplasm equivalent that got damaged or incompletely formed. So his eyes would not have the red pigment or the blue-green pigment that we normally see on ghosts. So his albinism can also be partial in this case. That's all I'm gonna say here, and this is your local loser doing a theory voiceover, yeeting herself off the cliff. Adios.